the other guys must be running a little bit late, or maybe they won't be able to make it. Probably too busy planning their Valentines, getting last minute Valentine's gifts. Although I guess for you guys, it's already past Valentine, or you guys don't.
Yeah.
This is a
No, no,
U.S. holiday.
no. It's the Hallmark managed to make it happen here too.
Oh, I see.
They're
Down
still trying
under.
hard with Halloween, but it hasn't taken off. No, it's the 15th here.
Yes. So it's already passed. You
Yeah,
already had
yeah.
your Valentine.
Yeah, I ignore it. I try to. Um, yeah, I can't be bothered.
Yes.
Much like Christmas, Easter, my birthday. Oh, you know how I've been saying
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
feeling
so
ill for the last few weeks. Yeah,
oh,
they think it's
okay.
the gallbladder. They're still waiting on some tests, but yeah, they think it's my gallbladder. I'll tell you what, oh, geez, it can make you throw up. Which is why
Yeah, and
I got my
um,
beard shorter.
uh, it's really different for all sorts of people because I've had the gallbladder issue some years back, and for me, never ever made me sick. But holy Christ, it hurt. It was just imagine someone's got a grip on your stones, got them really tightly wedged in a vice, and then they get to stay like that for the next 14 hours.
Yeah, it's like having a
Very,
14
very
hour
unpleasant.
vasectomy.
Can't say I've tried
If,
that.
yeah, if anyone's had a vasectomy, they shall know what I mean when they go, this might cause your eyelids close, and they clamp on one of the vasectomy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't say it
What
with the
is
top.
what does tuna mean by the forced link?
Uh,
I assume he's talking about Link, the
Oh, about Florida link?
fight, lose, lie.
Yeah.
I
uh,
enjoyed the other day. Had him pop up and complain, and then I made a comment about something about a loser. At which point, Monkey Boy jumped on, and I'll just go, "Oh, apparently you just say the word," and Monkey Boy goes, "I'm here."
Yeah. He just shows right up.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
I'm gonna.
and
Okay.
there was that guy in the comments. I just popped in right last night. Um, the guy who was saying, "I'm not sure about evolution." I looked at his channel. He's a Catholic, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's an American Catholic because Catholics have no problem with evolution. For God's
Yeah.
sake,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah. You don't
And
have to. And
no,
this goes back to the comment that I started making to Neppy, where he accepts that a donkey can talk because God can do anything. However,
yeah,
he can't imagine God enabling abiogenesis and evolution, which is just a completely silly understanding of his own God.
Yeah. I also have the issue
okay.
with God is all powerful and all knowing, yet is incapable of creating an earth that doesn't have sin on it. He went along
Yeah.
created sin, and then he's apparently incapable of doing that without taking away free will. That being said, free will can't exist if an omniscient God exists, but that's a whole other thing. But just
Well,
assuming that he could
Yeah, you
do
get
do it,
yeah.
yeah,
Because the hey, Machiavelli's in the chats, but I mean the other
hey,
thing is
Mac.
like this
Hey.
idea of free will being necessary, and you know, and that you have to have sin. although in heaven you have free will and supposedly no sin, right? So
Yeah,
if God can make a heaven
My
where
hairline is
everyone can
receding.
have free will and there not be sin, why have this earth? Why not just send everyone to heaven
except
where they won't
apparently he
sin?
can't. Apparently he
Yeah,
can't
he
make
can't.
a heaven without sin because yes, Lucifer went fuck you and sinned. So in the
Well,
story, so
yeah,
yeah,
depends on the
there's
story.
it depends which story you want to go with. You go does heaven have sin? No. Well, what about Lucifer? Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he only sinned when he was outside of heaven. Yeah, it gets really weird talking to evangelists.
And by the way, Dad, I did see Professor Dave's dunking on Jay Dyer and
it's
Jim Bob.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I
it's
still
pretty
haven't
funny.
even watched Forrest America's dunking on him, the full video, the 6 hour one they did last night or something, with
Oh no, I
clips
haven't
from
seen
when
that
they
either.
crashed his live show. They crashed Jim Bob's show.
Oh, did they?
Well,
Yeah.
Jim Bob joined a stream that Professor Dave was on, so he's got another video after the dunking effort, and yeah, it's interesting to listen to that one as well.
Yeah, I actually listened to that, and it was infuriating how incapable Jim Bob was of understanding evolution. Because he was just like so caught up on his attempt to do a gotcha. So like with what is it, the idea of the web feet, he kept on going, well, is it an advantage or is it not an advantage, and how do you determine it's an advantage? Because he thinks like, someone sits outside of evolution, and making a judgment that
Yeah,
this trait is evolutionary and this trait isn't. That is
yeah.
not
Well,
how evolution works.
there's a really good thing. Like there are some species of dogs, for example, that have or canids that have webbed feet, and the group has webbed feet because they live where there's water, and their ability to traverse through water quickly is an advantage. Whereas a timber wolf, for example, web feet does not give them any advantage whatsoever because they don't hunt by swimming. So yeah, that's why where web feet would come as an advantage.
And he thinks it's a circular argument to say that it's an advantage because it's an advantage, because
And you
he
go,
doesn't understand. In order for it to be an advantageous trait, it needs to confer some advantage in that environment.
yeah,
So that
that
wolf with the web feet, if it's in a desert, that web feet might actually be a disadvantage. That
it
is
will be a
how evolution
disadvantage
works.
because you'll get cuts in the webbing,
Yeah.
which can open up infection, and you just go, yeah. Um, pretty much all of the adaptations or evolutionary adaptations have advantages and disadvantages. The one
Yep.
that's most stark is sickle cell trait, where
Mm-hmm.
your hemoglobin doesn't form properly. It can form into these rod shapes that results in your red blood cells forming sickles. If you have, I think, if you have two copies of the gene, you just have sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia. But if you have one copy of the gene, you have sickle cell trait. And under certain circumstances, dehydration, extreme exertion, your red blood cells can pop into a sickle cell shape, and that's really bad. Um, but that trait makes the person immune to malaria. So it's terrible because under these circumstances, you can have you can get sickle cell anemia, you can get sickle cell happens and causes clotting and all sorts of other problems. But you don't die from malaria. So, but outside of malaria country, it's all disadvantage. There's no advantage. So, yeah, it really has to depend upon location, location, location. Yeah, it's not. It's just not something that is just going to work. Any given mutation, you go, oh yes, that's an advantage everywhere. Nope,
Yeah, even
not at all.
things like lactose tolerance, where adult tolerance, where you can digest lactose.
Yeah,
Uh, it actually isn't advantageous unless you actually
yes, you
consume
will.
lactose, right? Because
Yeah,
otherwise it's actually slightly disadvantageous because you are producing enzymes that you don't need.
yep,
And there's a reason why normally for most mammals it turns off after infancy, because you no longer need it.
yeah.
And it's only
It
really
is.
in humans where it's actually of a benefit.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly right. And you've also got other things like, for example, different people around the world have different copies of the gene that produces amylase, the enzyme that breaks starch into sugar. And yeah, in organisms that eat very little starch straight up, having 13 copies, for example, of that gene would be a terrible idea. You're
I mean,
producing
like
all of
for
this.
humans, it's not like it's
Great.
not going to kill you, right? But it
No,
does confer an extra, uh, unnecessary thing you have to make.
no, no. Well, if you weren't consuming large amounts of carbohydrate, but in humans we do consume large amounts of carbohydrates, and we have for millennia been eating ground grains of one sort or another. So as a result, we have accumulated more and more copies of that gene. And it also depends upon where you come from, where your background is. So some people might only have 4 copies of that gene, whereas others have, I think, up to 13 copies of the gene. And if you come from a place that has a long history of large quantity consumption of starches, then yeah, it confers an advantage to have lots of copies of that gene, because you can make use of lots of that enzyme. So
Yep.
yeah,
And also with lactose intolerance, I'm just waiting for Pirate John to come on and talk about how horrible intolerance against lactose is.
yeah,
His with this fake. Uh, I'm not sure what he's trying to do with this like transracial thing. It's just so stupid.
it's it's the it's the it's not it's the most common one of these bullshit bigoted
Yeah.
transphobic attacks. And yeah, uh, trans racialism is not a thing, because transgenderism is a result of biochemical effects that occurred in the womb that affected the way in which your brain was masculinized or otherwise. So, so yes, your brain is structured to be male or female. Your brain isn't structured to suddenly become Asian if you're not. If you don't have any sort of Asian background, you don't have this Asian thing just pop up, or black thing just pop up, or whatever it happens to be. That's not a thing that exists, and
Well,
it's
normally it's an argument that they lead into after saying that, well, anyone can self-identify as being a trans person, and so therefore I can self-identify as a transracial person. Unfortunately,
yeah.
that didn't work, right? Because like he was going on about, well, why aren't you accepting someone who self-identifies as a trans woman? That didn't work out, but he figured, well, I'm going to continue on with this stupid charade.
Machiavelli, that can you pop his comment back up,
Yeah.
QC?
Oh, this one. Oh, Erica.
No, the yeah, that's
Well,
not quite the Erica one. Yeah, that's not quite correct. That's the thing that most people think is the adaptation that group of I think they're a tribe
Sea gypsies.
out from the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look, the common name is sea gypsy, like
Yeah,
SEA
but
gypsies. Yeah.
they can't hold their breath longer. What they can do is they can dive under and come back up and recover, and dive under and come back up and recover, and dive under and come back up and recover faster than anyone else can.
They
So
also
it seems, yeah, so they can spend more time
eyelids.
underwater in a day than any other human on the planet. It would kill anyone else to try and spend that long underwater. But their dives aren't actually longer than average. But what they've got is the ability to rapidly reoxygenate their blood so that they can go back down again. They have oversized spleens and a few other adaptations that allow this to be a possibility. But yeah, it's easier to say they can just hold their breath longer because essentially in any given hour they can be underwater longer than any other human on the planet.
They also have their eyes have adapted to see underwater better, and some of them are even getting the what could be called a third-ish eyelid, like many other mammals that go frolicking in the water.
And you get the same thing. You get the same thing happens also with for example, the Sherpas,
Yeah,
which are a tribal group of Nepalis, and they come from high altitude and have adaptations that allow them to actually be able to handle that altitude better than others can. So as a result, that's why they get the jobs of being porters for mountain climbing because they have evolutionary advantages over the rest of us poor suckers who evolved at sea level, basically. There's
that's also
Andean
part.
tribesmen who have the same or have adaptations that are that confer the same advantages, but they're different adaptations.
That's part of the reason the British like the Gurkhas, because they have that, because they're Nepali troops that you know have better lung capacity and oxygenated blood because they live in the higher altitudes and they can run further, faster. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, certainly
Uh,
there are some adaptations that occur, like as an individual that gets more accustomed to these
yeah,
environments, but some of these other things are actually kind of
these are
evolutionary.
evolutionary.
Yeah, in the sense that there are traits that they're developing, like the larger spleens, etc. And I think some of it is kind of with the spleens, the erythropoietin that lets you kind of hold on to or make better use of oxygen, etc. So
Yeah,
those are
more
where
ego.
these people will then, when they pass on the traits, that's where evolution is occurring, but it's not at the individual level.
Yeah, and
But
their children will be born better at
yeah,
altitude
yeah,
than I will ever be capable of being.
right. Yeah,
And
because there
even if
are,
they never live at altitude, they'll adapt to it quick. You know, if they were taken down to sea level, they still have that adaptation. They still have that evolutionary adaptation in their genes. So when they go back up to altitude, they can yeah, adapt to that faster and better than I would ever be able to.
yeah, so evolution is just this distribution of these heritable traits amongst a population. So within any population, there are variances, and the evolution is kind of selecting the ones that are of a benefit that confers a benefit. If these things don't confer a benefit, it'll just kind of kind of not die out, but it won't be specifically selected for. So so the amount will be just kind of like background amounts. If there's a negative selection against it, then you'll get less of it. But one of the things that Dr. Dave, Professor Dave, I should say, not Dr. Dave, was talking about, because Jim Bob was, talking about humans and all that, and Professor Dave was saying that, well, humans are not subject to evolution. And that one I mean, I objected to because, I mean, evolution isn't necessarily a natural selection, it's just selection. So even in a societal environment, there are human traits that are getting selected. It's just that traits that would physically, select people against, like physical disabilities, etc. Those are not going to have a less of a pressure to get deselected because, within a human society, you can still live to adulthood, and you can have children, etc. Even with these kind of what you might call physically negative traits. But there are other traits that will get selected for, even in a society, like you know being able to live in a society, having empathy and sympathy. Those traits are going to get selected for. So evolution is occurring, will be occurring in humans. It's just that the selection is going to be very different than, let's say, in a wild animal.
Yeah.
But Jim Bob was trying really hard at the end, tried to get Professor Dave to say that your brain has no inherent purpose, right? He was saying, oh, so you're saying that your brain doesn't have a purpose? Try to make that gotcha. And Professor Dave was saying, well, no, there's no inherent purpose, but there's a function. But nevertheless, he posted on Twitter, that little soundbite of Professor Dave saying,
Because
yeah,
of
there
course he
is no
did.
inherent purpose.
Yeah, you take it out of context and
Yeah,
go, yeah, it says your brain has no purpose. Look how stupid these people are.
yeah.
And you go, look how dishonest that prick is.
And his kind of response or argument was to say, well, why should I listen to what you're saying if you're saying that your brain doesn't have a purpose? And the point Professor Day made at the end was pretty good. Because I'm right. The idea is that these concepts and things like evolution, they are independently right, from a naturalistic point of view, regardless of whether you believe it or not. So if you're some
Yeah.
creationist, who's too dumb to understand evolution, it doesn't matter. Evolution will still be correct.
Yeah, that's it. The nature doesn't set out to create anything.
Yeah,
Random things happen, and yeah, nature selects the things that, well, sometimes because you might get a really good trait all of a sudden, and then you got eaten
yeah,
by a lion, and you go, okay, well, that's a bit unfortunate. So it is a game of chance, but it's a game of chance where you give yourself a slight advantage over everybody else, and those can come through. But the opposite can also happen as well with the so-called founder effect. So where you've got a small population breaks away from others, they don't carry the average genotype of the species with them. They carry a small subset of that and then grow from that subset. So as a result, you can get quite rapid speciation under that circumstance because you're starting with a very different genotype in the population to the original population of the organism that it started with. So yeah, you'll see that in almost certainly is the reason why dingoes are so different to the dogs they evolved from in such a short period of time, because they started with a very low population and brought only a few traits across to start with. So they had a very strong founder effect. So that is, in some ways, it seems a little bit like a de-evolution, and you lose genes out of the population that you have. But again, nature doesn't care about that. There's no evolution or de-evolution. It's just does the creature survive in its environment? Yes, it
What
does.
works
Okay, it
and
works.
what takes the least amount of physical energy and biological effort
yeah,
to work.
I
It's
saw
not
I saw a really
survival. It's you're right, mate. Up you go.
sorry, go on.
No, you're
I was
right.
just going to say I saw a really interesting analogy saying that if evolution was a student, they'd be a solid C grade student.
Yeah,
They evolution's not excelling; it's just enough to pass every course. That's it. That's all evolution does. It just passes,
Yeah.
which is why we can have our
It's a
retinas
good
on
enough.
backwards. Yeah, we've got our retinas on backwards. That's not ideal. That's not an A. But do they work? Yeah, mostly. There's some flaws, but yeah, we can work with that. And so
Yeah,
yes, it's
yeah, and
a C.
it demonstrates that our bodies and animals were not designed. There's
No,
so many things where if it was designed, especially by a perfect creator, it should be an A+ design.
yes, in
But
We
everything.
we
can't
have a
even eat
C design.
and breathe at the same time. Other
Yeah,
Yeah,
there are
animals
a
can.
lot of things, and the thing is with evolution, we understand why, right? We know
yeah, we
mechanistically why
absolutely
we
know
ended
why
up
we
this
can't
way.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we can
but
track the development of it. And you can see all of the steps of that development in existing organisms that are around today.
yeah.
So if you look at sharks, which branched off before the tetrapods did from the fish lineage, the sharks do not have swim bladders. And then if you look at bony fishes have swim bladders. If you look at amphibians, those swim bladders have been co-opted into lungs, and in some of the fish as well, they've been co-opted in to become lungs. And in some of those lungs, they're just sacs. In other lungs, they've started to become divided, the way in which the lungs we understand are. But what they don't have is they don't have a trachea. So you can now look at frogs. Frogs have quite simple lungs. They don't have a trachea. So when you see a frog breathing, they've got their sort of mouth closed, and that the pouch underneath their chin is going in and out. And what's happening there is that the frog it's got to force air into its lung because it can't suck it in the way we do with ribs. Frogs don't have ribs. They don't have tracheas. And then as the neck evolved to get longer and longer, as it did in reptiles, the trachea had to become more. So that swim bladder and lung are the lung become an outgrow like an out pocket of the stomach, which became the swim bladder. So hence it's only one tube that gets to it, and then the neck grew, trachea grew with the neck, and yeah, we got more skeletal structure around the lungs, provide more protection, and that allows for a different way of getting air into those lungs that doesn't require forced air in. It can be sucked in. So
Well,
yeah, you
the
can see
point
all of
is
these steps.
that with evolutionary explanation, it makes sense. It's explanatory. It gives us information, and also it lets us make novel predictions.
Yeah,
That doesn't happen with intelligent design.
no, you can't make any predictions.
Yeah, all you can do is just make a comment. God done it, and that's it. You stop. It doesn't give you any other information.
Yeah, you don't
The
get
But
to, you
one
don't get
one
to be
thing
like
I
Darwin.
found
Oh,
with
sorry, go on.
oh sorry, Black. I talked over you there, mate.
No, oh, it's all right. I did it to you just
Yeah.
before. I was just going to
No,
say,
yeah. Go.
that slight delay. You go, Ook. I'm going to shut
All
up.
right. I was going to say that I was wandering around watching the Erica and Forrest take the piss out of Jim Bob, and people were mentioning, and I caught a little bit on one of his live, on one of his shows or something. He's got some sort of philosophical reason that evolution doesn't exist, or say you can't. Evolution
well, I
is
mean,
not a
it's religious.
phil-
It's not really philosophical. It's
yeah, but
Yeah,
religious, right?
there's no philosophical argument you can make for it. They don't. Oil and water, you can't. I can't see how you can get the two to work.
I mean, of course you can. I'm not saying it's right, but
Yeah,
you can.
and
just
it's
stick your
really
You can
fingers
come
in.
weird.
up with a
La
lot
la
of
la 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 la.
stupid arguments.
Yeah, the
The most
the
common
push.
one though is somebody did something wrong once, therefore it's all wrong.
Yeah, or
Um,
I worked out there's two. There's the There's the scientific argument of, that's ick to me. And the other scientific argument of, no.
Yeah, so I mean, the quote unquote philosophical argument is, they think that they're being scientific and mathematical, and to say, oh, you can't have random things occur that can create a 400 kilodalton protein by pure random connecting together of amino acids. I mean, it's just based on complete
They're
misunderstanding of science.
Well, they're both true and wrong. You can synthesize a 400 kilodalton amino acid from nothing. It won't do anything,
Yeah.
but you
Well, no,
can.
but
It'll
but
synthesize a
their point
specific
is
one.
that here
Yeah,
is
it's a
this like
specific.
modern protein, and they
Yeah,
expect it either has to be completely randomly ending up with that very specific protein, or a god designing it and saying here are the exact specific sequences of this protein that's needed to have this very specific function,
yeah.
which
It's
is
a
just
little
like
bit like,
completely wrong.
it's basically saying cavemen didn't have stealth fighters, therefore stealth fighters
Yep.
can't develop. And you go, yeah, well, of course, cavemen didn't have stealth fighters.
Yeah. I mean, it's all just like based on, I mean, these people that who argue against evolution. I really, really wish that there are people who actually understand the evolution and
Yeah,
then
but
coming up with these arguments.
yeah,
And
but
you won't. If you
once you
understand
understand it,
evolution, you won't.
yeah, once you understand it, you stop complaining about it.
Yeah,
Unless
I
you are
mean, you
really dead.
can complain about it, but it'll just be a different thing that's actually scientific, right? It
Yeah,
won't be this. It'll be, well, why aren't these epigenetic factors, causing these other this specific different amount of distribution of this particular trait? That kind of very specific thing where you would actually do research and publish, right? To demonstrate that you don't agree with this very specific portion of the evolutionary model.
yeah, and that's what regular researchers do
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
Yeah, yeah. Weirdly, that's the Evo Devo argument currently. That's sort of happening in that space of saying, yeah, we actually need to expand what we call the theory of evolution because it is insufficient to explain everything we see. But
Yep.
once you add these other components to it, all of a sudden you are in a space where you can where we've it seems like we can explain what we see.
Okay,
So
I'm gonna switch over a little bit. I put up this. Uh, Hold on, I have to.
Laugh for while you can, monkey boy.
Monkey Boy's continual spam of this particular comment, where
oh,
he is
you
just
do that. Hello, Monkey
crying.
Boy. Welcome to the stream. He's probably out there listening to us at the moment.
Yeah, I know. He just like
We do
too much
appreciate
of a coward to actually post anything in the live stream, but he's probably
we do
watching,
appreciate
or
your
maybe he
presence.
isn't. Yeah, but this comment that he keeps on putting up of this like, oh, and I think it's to you, Blarg, that you called him a
Yeah,
bigot, and I didn't specifically call him a bigot, right? And so when I've asked him to actually, because he accused me of calling him a bigot, not that I don't think he's a bigot, but I didn't specifically call him a bigot.
he's definitely a
So
bigot. People can be
yeah,
two
yeah.
things at
So,
once.
yeah. So when I asked him to, quote me on saying that in the stream, of course he can't. He doesn't. But now he kind of like does this thing. Oh, that it's on the stream, right? Not that I said it, or not even that you said it, but it's in the stream. Why did his stream, my stream, call evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins a bigot for saying sex is binary? And a
No, I called
close friend of Epstein. So I did say, I'm not sure if I said close friend of Epstein, but I
certainly a
believe that he
friend.
is in the Epstein files.
Oh yeah, he is. There's plenty of photos of Dawkins and Epstein together, because Epstein was really keen on surrounding himself in these intellectuals. So he was he put himself up as this you know sort of bohemian sort of character who was friends with all the great thinkers around the world. So it is
Like
entirely
Chomsky.
unsurprising. Well, that's an extra, yeah, like Chomsky, but yeah, that goes an extra bit further. Chomsky, Chomsky went further than Dawkins did, that's for sure. But,
Here's a fun little thing I was reading, or Crystal was reading, told me last night. In the Epstein files, all the stuff that they've got, Trump's mentioned about 30,000 times. Yeah. Harry Potter is only mentioned about 8,000 times over 7 books of the whole Potter series. So, yeah, that sort of gives you an idea of.
it gets worse than that, Ook, actually.
Oh,
the members of Congress who went and saw the redacted, unredacted stuff were saying that the search there that they got was close. It was in the vicinity of 1 million comments, 1 million mentions.
It just tells you that if you have 1,000 FBI agents and ask them to redact Trump's name, there's so much that they can't get rid of it all. So
yeah, well, they got rid of
quite a bit.
They managed to scale it down to 30,000 from 1 million, and you go, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that is good.
97%. It's a 97% success rate. That's an A.
That's how we use our tax money to pay these and also getting these FBI agents from going after like actual criminals and having them redact Trump's name.
Protecting criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a bit. It's got to be a bit hard to swallow as an FBI agent, particularly if you're one who spent your career chasing international sex trafficking crimes, and here you are covering for an international sex trafficking ring, and you go, "Oh, that's got to be hard."
Oh my God, meth head here coming on after crying about. I can't remember what he was complaining about in my live stream.
It's meth head.
Yeah, he's the one who said I needed to meet him at some neutral country instead of just going online, right? Instead of just coming on in a live stream. Oh no, we need to meet at a neutral country. I mean, he's just such a joke. But good morning, Crystal. So. So with Monkey Boy here, he keeps on posting this thing about, he's just like complaining about this evolutionary, or that, we called Richard Dawkins a bigot. And it's just like, he won't get off of it. And despite me trying to have him explain why he called for, essentially killing gays and trans by pushing them off of helicopters. He will not respond to that. I mean, it's almost like he's ashamed or he knows that it's wrong. But he keeps on deflecting from it.
Yeah, and then quite often deletes and repost.
That's why screenshots are good.
Yeah, Method, you're the issue with Chomsky. So you're okay with Chomsky offering to help Epstein deal with the negative press associated with being charged with being Epstein? Yeah, you think that's fine? Go on, tell us how you think that's okay.
And it looks like Monkey Boy is.
Come on, you can, Monkey Boy.
I told you.
Oh my God. At least Meth Head is not such a coward that he wouldn't post on the live stream. But Monkey Boy is. Okay, so the point of this discussion really was about what Florida Link has been going on and on about, which is what happened here? Isaiah 7:14.
What's my problem with Chomsky? I just explained it to you. He was helping an international child sex trafficking the leader of international sex trafficking ring deal with bad publicity. So he knew what the guy had done, and he's still helping. You just go, yeah, smuggle in things. Go, that's what I have is the problem with Chomsky. I have no problem with the rest of his the things he's written is as a general intellectual over the years. That's a whole other matter. But this is a problem.
Yeah, I do think. I mean, just to be a fair to Chomsky, is I he may not have really understood the ramifications. Although I think it was after hit, some of the charges that had come out against Epstein. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like he was completely unaware. I think he just kind of gave Epstein sort of a benefit of the doubt to say, oh, he's being unfairly maligned, or yeah, it was a false accusation of a sort. I can't imagine Chomsky would have like thought, yeah, this guy is a child molester and he just needs a little help with PR.
Well,
I mean, I may be wrong.
Here's what Chomsky wrote in an email back to Epstein when Epstein's going, "Noam, I'd love your advice on how to handle my putrid press. The media coverage is spiraling out of control." And Noam replies, "What the vultures dearly want is a public response, and then which then provides a public opening for the onslaught of venomous attacks, many from just publicity seekers and cranks of all sorts." So that's particularly true now with the hysteria that's developed about the abuse of women, which is reaching a point that even questioning the charge is worse. Is worse than murder. So yeah, he was aware of what the charges were, and I cannot believe that Noam Chomsky wasn't able to discover that Epstein had already pleaded guilty to solicitation of a minor. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm giving him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, maybe with his agent stuff, that he just was kind of blind to it, and maybe didn't do the due diligence, which is what his wife is saying, right? That they didn't really look into it enough. But I mean, it's there's definitely worse in those Epstein files than Chomsky. And I actually don't know how much like Dawkins was involved in it, but I think, like you
not
said
not
before,
not a huge amount by the look of it. More than anything, I think he was another one of the people who
yeah,
were the intellectuals that Epstein farmed around him. But the fact of the matter is, this was happening at a time after that had happened, and there is no way that when these parties were going on, there wasn't Epstein's staff around.
yeah.
So yeah, you had to have been looking at it. Had to have been a pretty damn blind eye that was being turned.
Yeah. But so the topic of this stream, we're like 43 minutes in, and we haven't
Oh,
gotten into it. Uh, but it is about Isaiah 7:14, and
oh
it's
no,
come
not
up.
that one.
So for the last couple days, we had Florida Link coming and saying that Isaiah 7:14 is about Jesus, and how it is a prophecy that's fulfilled. And the argument that that me and everyone else on the AXP live stream on the comments have put forth is that Isaiah 7:14 is absolutely not about Jesus, at least not if you do an honest view or reading of the text.
What?
So
A
I'm
real
sorry.
Not a prophecy. It's clearly not messianic in
no, but
any
it's
Right,
way.
it's not
yeah,
messianic.
yeah. You could say
It
it's
is a
one of the few
prophecy.
things, yeah,
Yes,
few prophecies that came sort of true, depending on when it was written.
but it is one
Which
of the
is
shit type of prophecies, which is, "Oh, great king, you will win this war," type
yeah,
Well,
prophecy.
no, I mean the thing is
sort of.
like, I it probably is something that was sort of written at the time, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't like predicting the future, but
No,
it's
it
kind of
was
like
predicting.
revealing.
No, it might have been predicting the future, because that is another style of prophecy that you get. You go, a soothsayer to a king. What does the king want to hear from his soothsayer? You're going to win this war. And what did Isaiah tell the king? You're going to win the war, but it's going to take a while. And yeah, and for those where the kings didn't successfully win the war and the prophecy didn't come true, then, well, we never get to hear about those, because the other side comes through and kills everyone and burns it to the ground, so we don't get to see their written prophecies down. So they're terrible prophecies, because they're basically it'd be like someone saying, "Well, I prophesy that Ukraine will win the war, but it won't be easy."
Yeah,
And
so
then we'll
let's
wait a few more
actually,
years and go on.
let me. I'm putting it up here so we can read it, and we can kind of talk about it, whether this is a good prophecy or not, because I think there's some elements that are kind of good, and I think others that you can argue against. But so it comes down to Isaiah, if we start at the beginning of Isaiah 7, it starts off with kind of like what you're saying, Plug, that Isaiah is reassuring Ahaz, because Ahaz is beset by Aram and Israel. So these two countries are attacking them, and of course, Ahaz is concerned, and so the God, God is saying it's okay, don't worry, this will be fine, don't worry about it. So the Isaiah 10 prophecy comes down to where Isaiah is going to and telling Ahaz, saying, okay, ask a sign of the Lord your God, let it be deep as Sheol or high as heaven. And Ahaz says, I will not ask, and I will not put the Lord to the test. And I like that part, because a lot of times I think people misunderstand this and says, I will not put the Lord to the test, meaning I'm not going to ask for God to do things or show me a sign or demonstrate that he is real, because I will not put the Lord to the test. But Isaiah actually says that, hear then, O house of David, is it too little for you to weary mortals that you weary my God as also? Meaning, God is so powerful. Why don't you ask him? It's nothing for him to give you a little prophecy or give you a little sign. So why aren't you depending on him? So it kind of goes to, Christians who, say, well, I'm not going to put my God to the test. I would take whatever he gives me, and I'm not going to, have him show himself, for example. And it is completely the opposite. If God is real and if God is all powerful, you should, be able to ask God to show himself and demonstrate his existence. But the real problem, of course, is that God doesn't exist. But the real prophecy right now, then it gets down to, okay, and this is where Isaiah 7:14 comes. Therefore, the Lord himself will give you a sign. Okay, he's going to give you a sign. And this is to Ahaz, right? It's not to some future generation. It's to Ahaz about a very
Yeah.
specific problem that he's having at that moment. And it says, look, the young woman is with child. And if you look at the Hebrew grammar, it's the participle form of is, meaning that it indicates present. It's not some future tense. It says it's not about that the young woman will be with child. It is a woman has already conceived, is with child, and shall bear a son, and shall name him Emmanuel, meaning when that son is eventually born, the son that is in her womb is eventually born, he will be called Emmanuel. That's the name. And it says, he shall eat curds and hay. And by the way, the young woman, the word that's used there, I think Bella or something like that, it means a young
Alma.
woman.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Alma.
yeah, Alma.
Um,
It means
yeah,
a young woman. It
yeah,
doesn't. It doesn't
basically
mean
an
virgin.
adolescent. Yeah, it means adolescent. that person could be a virgin, but it's not
Yep.
implying that it is. So if I said, if I refer to someone as a girl as an adolescent, I'm not saying she's a virgin. I'm not saying she's not a virgin. I'm just saying she's young. The issue comes because the authors of the Gospels were using the Septuagint, and in that they translate Alma as Parthenos, which basically means father's daughter, something of that nature, which translates as virgin. So she's the daughter is still with the father. She hasn't yet been married, so the assumption will be that she must be a virgin. So as a result, when when Mark read that passage, being he didn't speak Hebrew, he just
Well,
read
it's
it
not
as
that he
virgin.
didn't speak Hebrew. I mean, we don't know.
Well, he was
But
he,
what we
well he
do
was
know is that
reading
that's
it
right,
in
the
Greek.
Septuagint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't reading it in Hebrew, because if he was reading it in Hebrew, he wouldn't have made this mistake.
Yep. And in the Septuagint, Parthenos doesn't exclusively mean a virgin, especially when it was first written. You know, there was big enough of a semantic range that it could mean a young woman, not necessarily a virgin. But
Yeah, but it was
maybe at the time
With
implied
of Matthew,
strongly.
it was
Yeah,
closer.
yeah, even
yeah,
with or without child, they could have had children. They could have not. It was just a young maid, a young woman.
Yep.
Yep.
But there
yeah.
is a specific Hebrew word that indicates
It means virgin.
virginity, right?
Yeah,
It's Bethula. And that's not the word that gets used. And
yeah, and it gets used elsewhere.
yeah, it is used
So,
elsewhere.
it definitely exists. It's in the Bible, but it's not the one that's used here.
Right. And the argument that Nepi at least puts, and let's see if I'm not sure if I can find it, but his argument is that no, Bethula means a young girl who's like way too young to even have sex. So basically, like before puberty, right? A girl, and that is not what it means. I'm trying to find it. Well, I may not be able to find it, but he specifically says that. He says that no, it's irrelevant because they're not going to use Bethula because Bethula doesn't mean virgin specifically, but means like a young girl who's not even ready for sex. However, and I didn't like post this because I was waiting for him to kind of dig himself a big enough of hole. But I did put up a post, and let me see if I can find this where. Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay, so here I say that he said that Bethula is not relevant because that's used for a girl who's not of age, and and this is absolutely not true. So my question was like, after he's demonstrated to be wrong, will he ever admit that he is wrong,
Never.
or will he pretend that he never made this mistake, or will he just like keep saying the same incorrect claim even when he's proven wrong?
Both. He will keep saying it to start with and keep getting hammered. You're stupid. You're stupid. You got it wrong.
Yeah,
You got it wrong. And then he'll change it down the track and pretend he didn't say it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll
and,
just read
and,
the Brown Driver Briggs lexicon for Bethula.
okay.
Assyrian Bethulu, Genesis 24:16 is the first place it pops up, and 19 times in the Bible, and it noun feminine virgin. That's the
Okay, and I
lexicon,
have that.
not the that's not the
It's not the concord. Well, yeah,
concordance.
yeah.
Um,
So the
yeah,
example that you're bringing up, Genesis 24:16, is about Rebecca. Rebecca is specifically called Bethula because the person speaking at in that verse specifically knows that she is a virgin. So she is called Bethula to say that she's a virgin. However, later on, when she is being referred to, and just like a few verses down, She is called Alma, a young woman. So it is absolutely wrong to say that Bethula means a girl who is not of age to even have sex, because Rebecca is being looked at for
As both.
marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she is both. She is both a virgin and a young woman. What it doesn't say, which is the other argument that Florida makes, is that Alma means virgin because Alma means a maiden, someone who is not married. And Alma definitely doesn't have any indication of the marriage state, because it's like that comes. There is no specific Hebrew word that's for an unmarried young woman or a married young woman. The marriage state comes from context, from other words that indicate their marriage state. So it's not Alma itself by itself doesn't indicate whether the young woman is married or not. So that goes out the door as well.
Yeah, and according to the Brown Driver Briggs lexicon for Alma, feminine young woman, brackets, ripe sexually, semicolon, maid or newly married. So if you're newly married, you're very well not a virgin in the way this works. So yeah.
Wait, so let's talk a little bit about the difference between what a lexicon is and what a
Yes,
concordance
because
is.
Flojo refuses to learn.
Right. So let's see if we can educate him a little bit. And by the way, when I say educate him, he's already been told this. All these stuff that we're talking about here, people have already, myself and others, have already told him. He just refuses to listen.
Yeah,
He just ignores it, and
yeah,
he
because it's
doesn't
against what he
engage.
wants it to believe.
I, I I don't know if some of it is just that he intellectually doesn't have the firepower up there to understand, and so he just kind of ignores it that way, or he's
Yeah,
just willfully, right? Uh,
yeah. It could be a bit of both
yeah,
because he certainly is. He's almost certainly been punched in the head a lot as a child. You can be guaranteed that's the case. And then when he became a young adult, yeah, he did that. Got that happen a lot as well. Go fight, lose, and lie. Go, I won. He yells from the lying on the floor when
I've
somebody
been
turned him into a
ignoring
pretzel.
meth head, so I'm not sure what some of the dumb things that he said. Oh, he's going about the translation of, oh my god.
He's just talking. He's just dribbling a lot of fucking bollocks.
Wow.
It, yeah, as I said, it's called linguistics, and it's a fucking damn sight easier to learn about nowadays than it was before the internet.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's the thing, even with Florida Link and Epi, they can easily learn this. They
yeah. They
could
don't
just
want
look
to.
it up. And this whole Isaiah 7:14 thing, um, I mean, the apologetics is that this is a dual prophecy, meaning that you have to accept the primary prophecy, right? I don't know if Ook is rubbing his head because of dual prophecy or some other thing, but
Yeah, I was mentioning to Crystal last night the weird education I received from on the instructions of my second cousin. But yeah, one of the things was I had to, you know, I'd ask questions, and then my tutor would send me off to find the answers. And the only way to find the answers back then was for a 9-year-old kid to hop on his bike, travel about 40 minutes, get to the closest local library, take in the letter from his parents and from his teacher that said I'm allowed into the adult section, and go look these stuff up. So I was learning about dual prophecy and what a lot of bollocks it is. When I asked about the date of Jesus's birth, it took me 4 fucking weeks of research to find out, to learn the timeline of Herod the Great, his sons, boom, boom. And it's so easy to do now.
Yeah. If you were actually open, right, intellectually open
Yeah.
to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you say, you've been given a private education at no cost from the Vatican, and you tell your private tutor, I'm not going to Mass anymore because I don't want to be a hypocrite. And they do a little jig of joy because, oh, wonderful, I've got someone that thinks. And yeah, that's what I was doing at 9, being sent off to do this research. And I mean, back then you needed a letter from your parents and your teachers to say you could go into the adult section of the library. I mean, and then, of course, I had to have a big dictionary at home, the big Webster's dictionary that was leather bound and about that fucking thick, because half the words I was reading I didn't understand, so I had to go look them up. That's why it took me 4 weeks to find out, the birth of Jesus, as in the Bible, is fucking ridiculous and wrong and can't work. But yeah, the internet is so easy nowadays. Go out and learn.
Yeah, you just have to make an effort, and that's what I'm definitely not seeing that from either Nepi or Florida or really any of the trolls on the comment section. But anyway, oh yeah, so we were gonna go talk about the difference between lexicon and concordance. So I'll leave it to you, Blarga. You put up a really good post on that. So if you want to describe what the differences are between the two. You there, Blarg?
Helped if I wasn't muted. Yeah, basically the difference is concordance is more like a glossary of terms as they're used in the book. So yes, if you see
explain that big word with the D.
with the D, sorry,
Dorsary.
oh, glossary.
Glossary.
Yeah, glossary.
Sorry.
So it's essentially a glossary of terms, and it's not giving the meaning of the word; it's giving the way in which the word has been used in the text that's being referenced. That's its principal use for a concordance. So
And also, at least within the Bible, it's specific to the version. So the
yeah,
Strong's
that's exactly right.
Concordance, yeah, it's specific to the
Is
KJV.
Yeah, which means it's giving the way in which the translators of the KJV have translated the book, not the meaning of the words. So, for example, the KJV has translated some words as unicorn in 9 different places, and yeah, so in this case, if you look at the concordance, the unicorn is in there as some large beast, and they actually have gone and stuffed around with that a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, it's in there. Whereas the lexicon has a very different thing to say about that term. So it explains the word itself outside of the in its broader context, outside of the specific version that you're looking at. So
Well, the
yeah,
lexicon will actually
is a
give you
dictionary.
it'll give you grammar.
Yeah, yeah,
Verbatim grammar.
yeah, exactly.
As well as the definition, of course.
Yeah, so it also explains sort of where they come from and how it's used, and it's and yeah, all the implications in the same way that a dictionary does. But yes, it's a lexicon because it's referring to this old. Yeah, it's effectively a dictionary versus a glossary. There is some overlap, but you wouldn't use. If I was trying to argue that the meaning of particular words in English, I wouldn't go to a glossary out of a book that's written in
Yeah.
English and then use that to argue that's what the word means. I would go to a dictionary and of the English language, and then say, okay, here are the meanings that are out there, and then you can look at the concordance, for example, and say, okay, well, this is how that book interpreted it, but here's the broader spectrum of meaning that was available at the time.
Right. So in the
So,
case of like the Strong's Concordance, which is KJV specific, for a certain, like, let's say Hebrew word, it'll tell you how many times and where that particular word appears within the KJV version.
yep,
And also the glossary is showing how it is translated within that version,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so
only
so
that. It's not saying what
yeah,
it's, what it meant broadly at the time. It's only saying what it's translated as in that version.
right. So it's actually a historical translation of that word, in the sense that the KJV was, written back in 1611. So it's how the word was translated at that time. And it
And
doesn't take into account everything that we've learned about, how that word is used, since then.
yeah, and including the fact that at the time the KJV was written, the translators didn't know that there was a language called Koine Greek. It was a forgotten language, even though that is the language that was that the New Testament is written in. So the translators who wrote who translated the New Testament into English didn't even know the name of the Greek language they were translating. They thought they were translating classical Greek, but
Yeah.
no, it was the more common Koine Greek. So
And
yeah, unsurprisingly, they didn't do a great job.
yeah. So when you look at Strong's Concordance and it says that Alma means virgin, uh, it's wrong, because that's not what the lexicon says.
Well,
Uh,
it does mean virgin in KJV.
in
Alma is translated
the
as virgin. Yeah.
right,
So yeah, in the KJV, Alma means virgin. That's how it's
right.
translated. But
But
that's
that's not what the intent was in Isaiah.
no, and that's not what the lexicon says.
Right, right.
And they
So
ignore the meaning that's in the very same page. So they're in Blue Letter Bible. They've looked at Strong's Concordance and they refuse to read the meaning that is listed in the lexicon. They
yeah,
no, I'm not going to look at that. I will not look at that because it does not say virgin.
yeah. It's like that guy keeps on posting. Oh, look at the KJV, the authoritative King James version. Is
Yeah,
uh, I mean, we're not Anglicans. Sorry, guys.
I'm not.
Okay.
We're not morons as well.
All right. So Isaiah, so 7:14 says, "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the young woman, not a virgin, young woman, is with child and shall bear a son and shall name him Emmanuel." And it says, "He shall eat curds and honey by the time he knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child knows how to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land before those two kings you are in dread will be deserted." So that is the prophecy, right? And it sets a timeline, and it's very specific, right? So
It's a
by
couple of
this,
years from now. Yeah, that you'll
well,
be successful and have wiped them out.
yeah, how many years would that be? It says before that time. So before,
Probably
uh,
5,
yeah, before the
6,
kid is
something.
5. Yeah,
Solid
five
Yeah,
or
food,
six. What
solid
was that?
food, and sort of know that right from right, good
Yeah,
from evil, and So
yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
solid
And
after solid food and around 4-ish, maybe.
So that child Emmanuel it doesn't really have anything to do with the what's happening in terms of the conflict. It's really only just
no,
a way to measure time, to
yeah,
to put a limit on before on when the prophecy will be fulfilled, right? So in that case, in that sense, it's actually a good prophecy. I mean, assuming this was like a real prophecy where, saying at this time, this is what's going to happen, right?
But as I was saying, in my list of things, so I've got a standard list of things that need to be filled in order for me to accept that a prophecy is a prophecy. A fulfilled prophecy has been fulfilled. And hang on, I'll look at I'll bring up the list. Where is it? Sorry, people, just bear with me momentarily. So failed.
And by the way, the way Meth Head is behaving here, it's a wonder that he isn't an Andrew Wilson supporter, because he acts very much like one of those guys. But maybe he's been changed. He's been converted into being an Andrew Wilson supporter.
All right. So I've got a list of 8 points that need to be met in order to make a profit, to accept that something is a fulfilled prophecy. So number one, the most obvious, it has to have been written before the events that were described. No point going along and after you see how the war turned out, you go, oh, I wrote a prophecy that said the war will turn out the way I saw it. It can't be obvious, like tomorrow the sun will rise. It isn't something that's likely to happen, as in there will be a drought. It has to be specific, as in it can only be filled in one specific way. You can't have one that, you can push and pull and you go, that's sort of close enough. It isn't aspirational, isn't simply aspirational. This is number 5, and this is the one that I think is relevant here. Oh, great king, you will win the war. And that's what I think this prophecy really is. Oh, great king, you will win the war. Basically, he says, he's talking to a king that has a large public that sits underneath him. So the chance that there will be a woman who's currently pregnant who gives birth to a child that's going to be called Emmanuel is almost certain in amongst that large group. But it's so doesn't matter anyhow, because the king's not going to go and find this kid Emmanuel, because he's irrelevant. He's just, as you've noted, just putting a time marker in it,
Yeah.
and it's a poetic way of giving a time in the future. And then point 6 is it has to be something that is actually demonstrably happened exactly as described. So you can't have a prophecy that is 3/4 fulfilled. That's not a prophecy. That you get a lot out of that. What's it, Isaiah 7, that has the prophecy, all the prophecies of Jesus, but they forget the part where Jesus needs to be a leper and deformed. So a hunchback leper, and you go, we'll leave that bit out. So that doesn't work as fulfilled. It can't be something that was fulfilled specifically for the purpose of fulfilling it. And being a prophecy that people are aware of, and then they went and did it. So, like in the story of Jesus going and telling his disciple to go and get a donkey and a horse, so he could ride them into the city, so he could fulfill prophecy. That's not a prophecy
Yeah.
fulfillment.
I mean,
And
I guess in
lastly,
this case, that woman could, like, someone could, if they had heard about this prophecy, some woman who was pregnant at the time could name their kid Emmanuel just because of that.
yeah, and actually, it's quite possible that a lot of them would have done it because they might seek to curry favor with the king. Go,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the woman. Here's my child, Emmanuel. It was because of his birth. His birth was the sign from God. Please give us money or something.
Yeah.
So, they'd be highly motivated to do that, to fulfill the thing.
Well,
And then
assuming this became like they
publicly
made
known.
this public. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then
sorry. And I
the last.
stopped you before your last one.
Yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
last one is the evidence for the fulfillment is independent of the motivation to promote the person who it's claimed to be about.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can't have someone like Matthew saying, "Oh, Jesus did this," because he's highly motivated to lie about the situation. Whereas it'd be more believable if, for example, Josephus said this was a thing that happened in Jerusalem. We saw the graves open up and zombies walk. If he'd written that, then yeah, we'd have a hell of a lot stronger
Yeah.
argument that Jesus was divine. But
So
we don't.
let me go to the Matthew version of this prophecy, because then we can kind of go through all of the things that you said and see how bad it is. Because
Yeah, it's bad.
Matthew is like notorious for making things into prophecy that obviously isn't. And this is one of the many examples. So the interesting thing about this passage is about how Joseph finds out that his betrothed is, they haven't had sex yet, but she's pregnant, and but he's a nice guy, right? He's so being cocked is okay for him. He doesn't want to get her in trouble. So him being a righteous man, which is kind of interesting, because if he is righteous, wouldn't he want justice to be done and
Yeah, she should
have,
be stoned to death.
yeah, she should be stoned, right? If he was
That's
righteous,
the punishment.
right? But he's not that type of righteous. He's more like liberal lefty righteous, I guess.
Damn leftists.
That's right. And so he's unwilling to expose her to public disgrace. So he's going to he's planning to divorce her quietly, which I don't quite understand at that point how that would work. Quietly divorcing a woman.
And how do you divorce a person you're not married to?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But anyway,
marriage contract bullshit, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Cultural
maybe just
norms.
annul it.
Yeah.
yeah. But he, he's going, well, she's a nice woman, a nice girl, and I don't want her to get in trouble, so I'll do this quietly. And then he has a dream, right? So if you think psychology, maybe it's just like this guilty conscience thing. But he has a dream. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream and said, Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. So you got cucked by the Holy Spirit, so it's okay.
Yeah,
I think
he got cucked
that's
by
the
a strong
message.
breeze.
And so the angel says, she will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus. So the angel doesn't say you are to name him Emmanuel. He says you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. And this took place, from Matthew's point of view, to fulfill what has been spoken by the Lord through the prophet. And he quotes Isaiah 7:14. Look, and by the way, the Greek translation of Isaiah 7:14. Look, the virgin, Parthenos, shall become pregnant and give birth to a son, and they shall name as in calling him, Emmanuel. However, nowhere, even within Matthew's gospel, does he ever call Jesus Emmanuel, because the angels did not say to call him Emmanuel. The angel said to call him Jesus. So a complete mismatch here, right?
Yeah, it's a lot
How
actually like
does this?
it's a
Go
lot
ahead.
like the empty tomb. It's only mentioned here for the very
Yeah.
specific purpose of fulfilling the prophecy. The only time we get Joseph of Arimathea mentioned is he pops into the story with a tomb. Hey, he's got a tomb, and then he pops back out again, never to be mentioned ever again. Even in places where he should have been mentioned, like when the Sanhedrin were condemning Jesus. You would have thought if Joseph of Arimathea was a disciple of Jesus's or a good man who didn't want it to happen, there would have been some mention about it not being, someone having something to say about this. But nope, not there. It just pops in, leave it, and it's gone again. It's a plot point and nothing else.
But from Matthew's point of view, the prophecy is that a virgin becomes a pregnant. Not the Emmanuel thing isn't part of the prophecy. It's the virgin thing. This word Parthenos that he read, thinking that that's what it means, and so that's why he makes Mary a virgin, that she conceived without having sex, at least not with a human being. So this is as far as prophecies goes, this is horrible, right? This has nothing, no prophetic aspect of it, especially because they never call him Emmanuel, right? How is
Not
that the
once, not
prophecy?
anywhere, not in any single part of the entire Bible does it say, does he get referred to as Emmanuel, other than
Oh,
this
by the
one.
way, Nepi's argument is that he sometimes calls Jesus Emmanuel. So that means that Matthew was right, that they shall well, actually it says shall name him Emmanuel, right? Not that
Yeah,
they'll
that's not
call
call
him.
him Emmanuel. He shall be
Yeah,
named that.
name that.
Unless, I didn't see any mention of them going and calling him uh, Joshua Emmanuel, um, son of Joseph. What's it? Ben Joseph. Ben
Yeah.
Joseph. Yeah,
It's
don't see
not a
that.
middle name, right? It's not like they
Yeah,
put a middle name on him to say that he is actually has a name somewhere with Emmanuel. It's not even like not even like an initial Emmanuel. So to
yeah.
say
In this
that,
case, Nepi breaks my
yeah,
point seven. It's something that was fulfilled specifically for the purpose of fulfilling it by
hmm,
people aware of and motivated to fulfill it. So
yeah,
he's doing exactly what I said. No, from seven.
right, right. And when I ask Link here, where in the Bible do they ever call Jesus Emmanuel? He gives John 1 1, John 14, Revelation 10, or say 19:13, where he's referred to as Word of God. So, where in reality is Word of God equal to Emmanuel? It's not. They're actually completely different words. I know words don't mean words for a lot of these guys, but Word of God does not mean Emmanuel. And it does not mean God is with us. Oh, by the way, Emmanuel, God is with us, meaning that God is on our side and will help take care of the enemies. That's what God is with us means. It doesn't mean, as like some Nepi likes to say, it means that God has manifested as a human being and living among us. That's not what Emmanuel means. So that argument also goes out the door. Next is like John 1:14. God dwelling among humanity. That's not what Emmanuel is. That's not what Emmanuel means even. 1 Timothy 3:16. God was manifest in the flesh. No, that's not what Emmanuel is. That's not what Emmanuel means. Colossians 2:9. Dwells all the fullness of the Godhead bodily. How does this even get close to Emmanuel? I mean, the rest of it is just like exactly the same.
He just gets stupider and stupider and just keeps
Yeah,
putting nonsense down. And I,
and
look,
he keeps on repeating it
yeah,
as if he repeats it enough, it becomes true.
yeah. Well, that's why I've started saying repeating the stupid doesn't make it true. It just
Yeah,
means you've got twice as much stupid.
yeah. Neo also says that as well.
Yeah,
And Matthew 1:23 does not call Jesus Emmanuel. It is just repeating, quoting in Greek what's in Isaiah 7:14. And Isaiah
yeah,
7:14, oh, here's the other funny one. Isaiah 7:14 explicitly refers to the Son as Emmanuel. So just because the word son is used, that doesn't
Not
mean it means Jesus,
yeah,
right?
capital T, capital S. The son is not the woman will have a kid who's her son. Yeah, that's a whole other context.
Yeah. So, because there are plenty of cases where sons are referred to, right? And you can't say every time a son is mentioned that it means Jesus, right? That
Well,
can't be
maybe
the
it
case.
does. Maybe it was referring to me, so I could go along and
Oh, that,
reinterpret the
wait,
the
are you a
Bible.
son? Are you a
I'm a
son?
son, so
Oh my
every
God,
time it's
how could that
mentioned,
happen?
they're all messianic prophecies about me. Me, I'm the Messiah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're a son. You're
they're
the
all
son. Yeah.
secondary prophecies hidden in plain sight. Every time it says the son, I'm a son, so therefore I've fulfilled. Oh, question: how many times is the word "son" used in the Bible? I'll check.
Okay. So, Abraham's story, right, where he sacrifices Isaac, you can actually make a case that there is a parallel to the Jesus story, right, where Jesus, the son, is sacrificed. And God said, "No, but your wife Sarah shall bear your son, and you shall name him Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his offspring after him." So Isaac, it doesn't necessarily, according to these guys' thinking, Jesus doesn't have to be called Isaac because Isaac means something. Isaac means he laughs. So I think what that means is that Jesus is the Joker. And I don't know if any of you guys read the DC comics of Batman Who Laughs. So Batman Who Laughs is this kind of like this multiverse entity that essentially brings like catastrophe amongst all of DC's multiverse. So I think what this means is that Jesus is Jesus who laughs, who will actually bring down the biblical multiverse. If I don't know if
the
Machiavelli is into that, but I thought he
the uh,
might
the answer
appreciate it.
is the answer is in also. We've been told that Jesus fulfilled over 300 prophecies
Oh my God,
in
yeah.
the Bible. Yeah, well, because I'm the son, and it means I fulfilled 2,378 prophecies in the Bible. Hello,
So Batman Who
Jesus was a
Laughs is
nobody.
not when Joker gets infected with Joker toxin. It's when Batman gets infected with the Joker toxin. And oh, okay, he corrected himself. Okay, yeah, because Batman has such an incredible mind, and with the Joker toxin, it actually makes him this, this incredibly dangerous villain. Meaning that only thing that's holding back Batman from become a villain is that Batman is Christian and his Bible said not to. So I think that's how morality works.
Yeah,
So yeah, the whole thing is just so
and
funny.
entertaining.
Yeah, and Isaiah 7:14 is something that is such a stupid excuse of a prophecy that Justin from the deconstruction zone. Uh, I mean, he must get that all the time because there's so many people who come up with Isaiah 7:14 Emmanuel as one of the examples of a prophecy that Jesus fulfilled when it absolutely is not the case. So when I told Link that he should call into Justin, and I would love to watch him just get destroyed and get cooked. His response was that have your boy call me, and we can have a discussion.
Yeah, that's a good extra. It's the standard fight lose lie technique of coming up with an excuse for why he's running away. Go, I'm not running away. They failed to do the thing I asked them to do. Just like when he waits until you've gone silent after you've gone to bed, QC, and then he goes, right, I'm going to debate now. And if you don't debate me in this very instant, you're a loser and a coward. And you go, yeah, good on you for waiting until you know this can't be fulfilled. It's like a
Yeah.
kid saying, I'll meet you down behind the shed for a fight, and then waits till the other kid's gone home, tells someone else he's going down there to fight him now, and if he doesn't turn up, you're the other kid's a loser and lost. You go, yeah, good on you.
Yeah. So Link will just keep saying, "Oh, you guys are all running away. You guys are all cowards." And and the other thing is like, why won't you answer the question on who Emmanuel is in Isaiah and Matthew, and like the 40 responses of me telling him what that means, he somehow missed them. He didn't. He must not have seen them. So he keeps on posting and saying, "I'm waiting. I'm waiting." I mean, it's just laughable. But yeah, he's not showing up. I was hoping that this will be the live where he shows up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that didn't happen again.
Nah, but you'll know he'd be one of the first commenters as soon as the
Um,
post is finished.
yeah.
No. Yeah.
By the way, I meant to send out an email to John Clark. John, if you're listening, um, I hope you're okay. I haven't heard from you for a while, and I'm just assuming just you've been busy, which is understandable. Um, and I haven't seen him comment too much, but I did see like a comment or two from him. So I hope you're okay. Um, and we're missing. Oh, I guess so. Craig's not on, and so I'm just gonna assume he had a really good Valentine's Day. So just
Mm.
he's sleeping in.
Um,
Yeah.
I thought I'd just pop back to an earlier discussion. There was a mention when we were talking about evolution. Someone popped up during the week some mention of the eyeball, and just going, oh, for crying out loud, the eyeball was debunked in volume 1 of On the Origin of Species, the as being essentially something that couldn't evolve, and it's been debunked in multiple other ways, and it's now 20 years since it was debunked legally as well. So this irreducible complexity was debunked legally in that case with Michael Behe. But we're saying, and just saying, look, get something newer, for crying out loud. The eyeball's so old. And Neil suggested that it should be the flagellum is the one he's been seeing most recently. And literally a couple of hours after he wrote that, up pops this video by Stated Clearly, which is part 1 of it, at least 4, possibly more parts, where he's going to go into extreme detail about the evolution of the flagellum, following the questions from Destin on Smarter Every Day. Destin's a very strongly religious person, but he's also an exceptional YouTuber. So some of the stuff he's put up is brilliant. Yeah. So I'm not
But
going
the
to.
flagellum has been studied quite a bit, and
It has,
there
yes.
is a lot of research that shows how it evolved, how it could have
Yeah.
evolved.
But yeah, so it's such a really nice set of videos. So by Stated Clearly, so I wanted to give him a shout out and say, yeah, highly recommend this video and the channel. Excellent stuff. So yeah, he's a very, very good communicator of science. So
Yeah,
give him
and
a
there's
watch and
a
give him a like and a subscribe, everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so much actually good research or good resources on
Yeah,
YouTube to learn some of these things. Again, if you just were intellectually honest and open to these kind of things, which is, I think, just very difficult for a lot of the people where they are literally stuck in the dogma.
yeah,
Oh, and from a Bible point of view, I certainly get a lot from the deconstruction zone, but Dan McClellan has been a really good
fantastic.
resource. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially the thing he had come up with or had a short about how anyone who pulls out the Strong's Concordance when they're talking about arguing about meanings of Hebrew words, they've literally lost because it makes no. I mean, you don't
it's
use a
ridiculous.
concordance.
Has
Yeah.
anyone actually ever picked up a bound copy of that? Because, oh, fuck, it's heavy.
Oh, of the Bible.
Yeah,
What we get
Brown's.
wrong about the Bible,
No, the
or right
Brown's.
about the Bible.
Oh,
Brown's.
the lexicon.
Oh,
Yeah,
that.
No,
Oh no.
and
Brown's is the
Brown's.
lexicon, and
Yeah,
Strong's is the concordance.
yeah, both of those together. Yeah, that was the reason I had a big bike rack, big port rack on the 10 speed, because yeah, some of those books you needed a couple of hockey straps to tie down.
Sorry, I'm going to have to translate for
Oh
those who
shit!
aren't
Yeah,
Australian.
sorry.
A port is specifically a Queensland term, not just an Australian term. It's specifically a Queensland term for a backpack or a bag, school bag, or a travel bag of some sort. 10-speed is a push bike, a bicycle, and an hockey strap is an elastic strap that has hooks on either end. There you go. Oop, you can go on.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and for Q from last week, pommy is the Australian term for anyone from UK. It's a very twisted term. It actually goes back to convict days, where new immigrants, free immigrants from England, were referred to as pomegranates because that's the
Oh.
colour they turned in the Australian sun.
Oh my
And of
gosh.
course, we just shortened it to pommy.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that
I didn't know that.
pommy is what we call UK. Kiwis, of course, are New Zealanders. Seppos
Because they're
are
fuzzy.
No, because kiwi is
is the
is
bird.
the name of their national bird.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
the
a
bird.
tiny little
Oh,
ratite. Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was thinking the kiwi fruit.
yeah. No, kiwi fruits are actually Chinese,
Chinese.
but they got renamed.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they were originally called Chinese gooseberries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're
Not
not
everybody.
from New Zealand?
No,
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 they're
they're not.
China.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um,
So they
and
have
it's a better
this.
name though.
yeah,
Like a kiwi fruit. Yeah, that sounds.
brilliant marketing plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit like an orange roughy used to be called a slime head.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess kiwi sounds more tasty than Chinese gooseberry.
Yeah, a
Especially
gooseberry.
since gooseberries don't taste that. I mean, I'm not really into gooseberries, but
Yeah. The Australian language is weird for anyone. Even other Commonwealth nations have problems with it. Even Australians have problems with it.
The word port is an interesting one though, because
Yeah.
you can use that if you ever hear an Australian use the word port to refer to a backpack, then you can guarantee they grew up in Queensland.
Yeah.
It does not exist in any other state. It's a Queensland only term.
Queensland is can be just they're weird compared to the only people who are weirder than Queenslanders are Northern Territory.
Oh,
And
they're
then-
wonderful people though. They're also
Yeah.
people from the Northern Territory are the friendliest people you'll ever meet. So, if you're going to go on a holiday and, if you go up to the Northern Territory, those people are just open arms, just amazing.
Just remember,
So
you
good.
have to have a high tolerance for alcohol.
What is Australian licorice? Is that something different?
You're talking about wombat poo.
Yeah,
Yeah, they come in
What?
little cubes.
That's
Look,
not
I haven't heard
Australian
of it.
licorice. I don't think that's what tuna man means.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's koala poo. What do you mean?
the Australian licorice, UK licorice, and American licorice is all different. The amount of aniseed in them varies greatly, and most of the American stuff is actually artificial nowadays.
Have you ever had Dutch licorice?
Oh, beautiful.
Salmiak.
Yeah,
It's salty, but it doesn't use sodium chloride. It uses ammonium chloride as the salt. And there was a really big problem with the formation of the EU and the dietary guidelines about salmiak that the Dutch people almost didn't join because the EU were going to regulate a maximum amount of ammonium chloride allowed to be in any food, and they're like, "Hell no, you're not touching our licorice," and it's absolutely delicious.
yeah. Yeah, the strangest people in Australia are Tasmanian people. But it's also one of the. I still haven't got there. I really, before I die, I really have to see Tasmania. It's stunning. But yeah,
Yeah, done the Tassie trip. It is well worth going.
yeah. Closest thing to what many people say is paradise. And from all reports, I'd say they're right. Northern Territory or far North Queensland and Northern Territory are probably the closest thing to hell on earth. If you exclude Papua New Guinea.
Come on, man! I'm currently in far north Queensland.
Yeah,
At this
I
very
mean,
moment.
technically we were born, both of us were sort of born there. Well, actually, I was born. What is the curry considered? Is it
It's Western Queensland.
Western North Queensland? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hot place.
Here is Monkey Boy posting. This was an hour ago, so about 40 minutes after we've started our stream. What's up with anti-evolution rhetoric? So I mean, I'm not sure what he's going at with this evolution thing. So sex itself being binary is different from how individuals are assigned or identified within that distribution, where they fall in the distribution. The fact that it's a bimodal distribution doesn't mean that we're saying that there's a million different types of sexes, and so that's fine. You can keep saying that sex is binary. It's just that in terms of where people fall in, they don't fall neatly into those specific categories. Race is a spectrum. Sex is pretty damn binary.
I quoted Dawkins himself off the Richard Dawkins website, so richarddawkins.com, so this is his own words on his own website, to see whether Monkey Boy was being correct about what he said about Richard Dawkins' opinion about human sexuality from an evolutionary perspective. So race is a spectrum, sex is pretty damn binary. He doesn't say sex is absolutely binary, and further down when he looks at this,
You have to make it bigger.
I will try to do that momentarily. Here we go. How do I make it? I don't have my damn what do you call it at the moment, but I'll read what it says here. So it says in this paragraph, the Sunday Times condensed my words into the headline that I have adopted for this piece. Race is a spectrum, sex is pretty damn binary. Unlike my wombat conjecture, This point is childishly obvious. When a female and male mate, each offspring is either male or female, extremely seldom a hermaphrodite or intersex of any kind. Male or female, and now Monkey Boy's entire point gets crushed by the second half of that sentence, because something isn't binary if it is extremely seldomly, it is something other than the two. So Dawkins not only acknowledges that it's not quite binary, it's mostly binary, which is the point we were making. It's bimodal with a tight distribution. It's but he also says that hermaphrodites exist within humans, crushing Monkey Boy's second argument that he kept trying to make. And you go, oh, that is painful. Dawkins managed to crush both of Monkey Boy's talking points in half a sentence. That
So
has got
he claims that you quote mined him, just like I quote mined what's his name, Charlie Kirk, by quoting what he said.
Yeah.
So he's
I'm
saying you
quote
quote
mining
mined him. Yeah.
Yeah, I quote mined him because I correctly said that Monkey Boy said that sex is binary, which he keeps saying. So apparently that is what he meant. And he keeps saying that hermaphrodites don't exist. And I quote mined that as well, apparently. So, yes, he gets absolutely crushed in half a sentence by his own expert. That just could not have been better. The only thing I've seen that's more interesting than that is the debate with Professor Dave, another guy I can't remember the name of, and a pair of anti-vaxxers, when they used the anti-vaxxers' own paper to crush the point they were trying to make as well. So yeah, I just love it when that works. If you're going to use somebody as your expert, make sure that they're actually saying the thing you want them to say.
So it's it's so ironic when Monkey Boy accuses anyone of quote mining. I mean, in terms of quote mining, all those guys are just kind of off the charts.
Yeah, that is some
in regard to quote mining.
That is some
And not to mention he's plagiarists who will just post things and pretend he's the one who's saying that, as well as incorrectly quoting people. So yeah, it is silly when these guys accuse anyone of those kind of things, anything to do with quoting. But all right, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We're close to the top of the hour, and I do want to, because we've also gotten some of the trolls, like Diva came on for a second, and Meth Head is just,
no one mentioned or noticed that I have trimmed my beard to the shortest it's been since I was about 12. Actually, no, the shortest I've been.
It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, since they had to put me in a cone.
I'm pretty sure you're less likely to be the person picked out of a lineup as you currently look.
Yeah,
so
it was him.
Yeah, when I think Beth had said something about you being like a gruff old man. You're less gruffy, or less scruffy, I guess.
Technically, by Australian standards, you're not actually old or senior until you hit 60. So I'm not there just
20
yet.
minutes?
Yeah. Around August, I click over. But yeah, Tuna, I'll send you some stuff, mate. Just pop us your address there. I'll send you some chicken salt.
Well, you guys all have each other's emails, so you can exchange addresses. So
that'll be good, actually, Blarg, if I send him some chicken salt, because, I mean, yeah.
Chicken salt is a thing.
It's a wonderful thing. Look it up, people.
Might actually be able to get it in America if you just look around a little bit. Probably Amazon will be able to get it delivered to your door a couple of hours from now. If I bet it'd be on there.
Yeah, but that's how they
It's delicious. It's not like Vegemite. You don't actually need to grow up eating it to enjoy it.
First time you try Vegemite, just wave the toast over the top of the open jar.
Yeah, or show it a picture of some Vegemite.
Yeah.
Don't actually
Scare
put
it.
any on because it's a bit strong.
But chicken salt.
So, yeah,
That's it.
beauty.
All right.
All right.
That
All
was
right.
fantastic.
Yeah, this was
Again.
fun.
Yeah,
Remember,
Thank
people,
you.
hit the like button.
Yeah.
Thank
Like
you
and
guys.
subscribe.
Thank you, Tuna Man. And Meth, I know I ignore most of what you said, but thanks for. Oh, you're right. I didn't. I was just kind of trying to remember what he said. He didn't call you a gruff old man. He was actually worse. He called you a crotchety old fart.
That is a
So
pretty reasonable assessment, actually. I'll second that method.
Yeah. It's better than what I've been described by the
It's
prosecutors.
probably that's considered a compliment.
yeah,
Yeah.
as long as he didn't call you gruff. I mean, that's where you have to
We're
draw
not
the
having
line.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Bye all.
Yeah. Have a good one, fellas.
Challenge your beliefs, let the silence break the silence, shake the faith. Truth survives the hardest quake. Hold to truth, no more opaque. Reason's voice, it sings so clear through fear we hear. Cut through the noise, dissolve the fear. Rise above what you revere. No more shadows dressed as truth. Light reveals what lies uncouth. No more chains disguised as proof. Reason frees the mind uncouth. Let the evidence ascend. This is fallacy's end. Scriptures written in disguise, veiling men in holy lies. Faith without a place to land, truth that crumbles when it's scanned.